Yes, please. A very good morning. And good morning to online students too. Please switch on your cameras and reveal your faces with a smile. That's the precondition. Now see, this is our first interaction. So I'm supposed to introduce myself. There is not much to say. I'll just tell you my name. I'm SK and I have been with the same institute for about 32 years now. Means no promotion in life. I'm at the same place. And see, I should be asking for your introduction also, but I hope you understand. I'll not seek your introduction. No. In fact, since I cannot seek your introduction, what I do in my first lecture always is that I seek introduction from your side in a different way. I want that every one of you should make a pledge that you will do all you can and you will do all the best you can to get your name in the list the very next year. And give that introduction to the world around you, to your cousins, right, to your college friends, and to people at home. Give a different introduction by your selection in the examination. Is okay? Because when you have success, that speaks a lot. So keep working hard in silence and let the success be your noise in life. So give that introduction rather than this physical introduction if I go for it in the class, right? That would be just a waste of time. Now, I'll be with you in this session for certain areas of physical geography for prelims as well as mains. But since this is our first interaction, so I hope you understand I'll not start teaching immediately. Okay? Since you are starting this big journey, so based on my experience, I'll give you 4 or 5 tips for this examination. Would you like to have it? You have no choice also. It means my lecture is already planned, right? So I'll share with you 4 plus 1, 5 tips for this examination. I'm saying it this way because 4 would be more directly related to the examination. And the last one, just wait, it would relate to something different, okay? Now, my first guideline is that for this examination, better than anyone else, better than any teacher in this field, better than any institute or better than any senior, your guidance will come from your syllabus copy plus the previous year's question papers. So my advice to you is do not waste much time in seeking guidance from the so-called seniors of Rajendra and Karol. Remember, you are not here to become seniors. I hope you understand the point. Means you must crack this examination the very first attempt, and you can do that. So seniors are only good for knowing who are the good landlords of this area and where do you get good food to eat, okay? Or seniors are good to learn what mistakes they did in life to become seniors. Remember, human life is too short to make all mistakes oneself. So a wise person is one who learns from others' mistakes. So get to know what all wrong they have done in their stay in Delhi for this examination and why they have become seniors, okay? So be a wiser person and crack this examination by learning from others' mistakes. So since these are the 2 best guides for you, remember, though I should not say like this, institutes can tell lies, the previous year's toppers certainly tell lies, you know. But what doesn't tell lie in this examination is the syllabus copy and the previous year's question papers. This is like litmus test. If you can handle the last year's question or the last few years question papers, no one can stop you to handle and have success in the next year's examination as such. Okay. So this is your litmus test. Live with this. Remember, you must always run in the direction of your fear. Then only you will have success in life. So don't run away from these two things. Tackle that right from the first day. Remember, there's a saying, when you know your destination, journey becomes easier. So this is your destination. Syllabus as well as previous year's question paper. So get familiar with these two things as much as possible. Keep one hard copy of these two in your room on the table, and one set of these two, the hard set, the hard copy, in your bag also. So whenever you have time, keep reading, keep knowing what all is there in the syllabus and what kind of questions have been there. Though in the beginning you may not make much sense out of the questions and some of the topics also, but being the graduate and postgraduate, you certainly will make some sense out of it, no? At least you know what kind of things are there. So this is your first tip, that please live with these two things right from the day one. Okay. Second advice is that UPSC goes to divide this exam, goes to compartmentalize this exam in 3 stages: the prelims, mains and interview. It does so for its own administrative reasons. But my advice to you is that as a candidate for this examination, you please do not compartmentalize your preparation for this examination. Means look at this exam in an integrated way. Tell yourself that I am writing prelims next year to write mains, and I am going for mains to appear in the interview. Remember, you will not understand this today, but you can test what I am saying today after a few months. Towards November or December, many of you, I'm sorry to say this, majority of rather, not many, majority of you, I'm sorry to say this, that majority of you by November or December would only be looking for prelims. You will not even think of mains, what to talk about interview. And this would happen not this year, the cycle will repeat next year also. So many of the students who come to Delhi, they get trapped in the vicious circle of prelims only. And that is how they waste the prime years of the life. Remember, this is the golden period of your life. Don't waste too many years in this examination when you can do it in 1 or 2 years itself. So, look at this exam in an integrated fashion. Remember, there will be 2 benefits if you go for an integrated approach. One, if you are doing mains along with prelims, the chances to crack prelims will improve, because prelims is not that well defined as mains is. So the knowledge and the clarity you have on the syllabus of mains will help you to crack some questions of prelims. Or second thing I can say is, what is the fun and gain of clearing prelims next year if you are not prepared for mains? So your attempt, even if it was successful in prelims, goes waste, because after prelims results you have no time to prepare for mains. So right from the day one, and you have enough time now to think of all the 3 stages. Even you think of interview right from the day one. At least broad elements you can think of. For example, you have heard of your seniors and other social media platforms that hobbies make one important section for interaction in the very beginning of the personality test. And many of the students I've seen, having spent 2 or 3 years in Delhi, when they have to go for the interview, they come to a teacher like me in the staff room and just speak one word: hobbies. Means they're asking the teacher, what hobbies should I fill in my form? Don't think it's a shame that you're asking your hobbies from someone else. What are hobbies? Something which is of interest to you when you're free in life. So please choose your hobbies now if you have none. And there's, like, remember, everyone has some or the other hobby. So finalize those hobbies, that which ones I would mention the form as such. The only thing we teachers can do is, we can guide you that which hobbies you should not mention, which are the best ones to mention, and how you should prepare for those. So such kind of things you can start right from the day one for the interview. Okay. Remember, you can always shape your personality to the requirements of the examination, no? They are looking for OLQs, officer-like qualities. So you can shape yourself for those. Everything can be learned in life, no? You have to act like a salesperson in that interview. You have to sell yourself as a product. So salesperson, do it with training and experience. So think of this whole exam in an integrated fashion. Otherwise, I tell you, my 32 years experience tells me that many good students happen to spoil their prime years here by only looking for prelims at a time, and they waste 3 or 4 years before they reach the interview. So don't let that happen to you. My third advice is what our director would have done last, this is your second lecture? So Mr. Ravindra, our director, would have done it better than me, but as a norm I need to mention that the core part of your strategy for this examination will be the reading of newspaper. He would have mentioned that, no? And our administrative platform, the portal, would help you a lot in this regard. But remember, newspaper is something which you need to read yourself, no? And I have been a student of statistics also. So I'll not speak much because director would have done it. So I'll just quantify as a student of statistics the importance of newspaper for this examination. Believe my words, I'll say around 60% of your all UPSC's requirements for all the 3 stages will alone come from newspaper reading. 60%. And I am saying it with a lot of honesty and understanding of this examination. Remember, not only the questions will come from the newspaper, even the content for most of the questions answer would come from newspaper only. Remember, questions are never asked in such exams from vacuum. There is a context always for every question what comes in UPSC. Even in static areas of the subjects, even a topic as static as volcanism gets a question because of something happened in the last year or last 2 years or so. Okay. So this is the core strategy, and even if you are like those, some of you might have started reading newspaper, and most of those who have started, they might be struggling reading this newspaper. Struggling in the sense, they might be taking 3 or 4 hours and still they may not be clear that am I doing justice with this or not. How many of you have started reading the newspaper? Do you have that feel of struggle? So I would say, if you are struggling reading a newspaper, the only advice I'll give is keep struggling. I should not quote someone here, but since he is fitting in this context, we hate that person otherwise. Winston Churchill. Churchill used to say that if you are going through hell, keep going. That is the only way to get out of this hell. So if you find a struggle reading newspaper, advice is that keep struggling, because over a period of time you'll improve in terms of reading of this newspaper more efficiently. But even if you are taking 2.5 or 3 hours even after 2 or 3 months, nothing wrong, because it still, it still gives you more than 60% of the content, and the questions also will come from this newspaper reading. Now, why newspaper is so important? If someone asked me to define what is newspaper, I would say it like this: newspaper is something through which a nation talks to itself every day. So India talks to itself every day for its own as well as for the whole world. So this is what UPSC is interested in, that what India has been talking about in the last 1.5 years. So that is why the questions and the content for answer writing for many papers will come from here only. Most of the questions of paper on ethics, essay paper, and those which are of current affairs questions, and many of the static areas would also get the content from newspaper. And there is one caution here for newspaper reading. In your stay in Delhi, you will find many sources around you where they will give you a very tempting kind of an offer. They will say, don't waste 3 or 4 hours reading a newspaper. Come to us 3 times a week for 2 hours every time. Means within 6 hours of a week, we'll give you the gist of 4 newspapers or 5 newspapers in one go. This offer would be very tempting, no? That you are struggling at home with one paper for 4 hours every day, and someone says, invest 2 hours thrice a week, and we'll give you the content for 4 newspapers of the country. Now, my only advice here would be don't go for it, because there is a saying in Hindi, "Bina mare swarg nahi prapt hoga." And do remember, I add to that, marna bhi khud ko hi hai. So remember, you cannot plan to go to heavens on someone else's behalf. Marna to khud ko hi hai agar heaven jana hai, right? So this is what is true about newspaper. That this is one section of the whole examination strategy which you have to do yourself only. We may give you some help in identifying some important articles and all that. But if you have not read an article, how can you use it for essay paper or paper on ethics? Who knows, one sentence lifted from the article may do wonders in essay writing. Any class or newspaper can only provide you factual content for 1 or 2 questions in the prelims, but not subjective content for majority of your mains and even for the interview. Remember, even interview board is good in asking questions on what? Newspaper, but that is the only thing they have been reading throughout their life. No, because they didn't get much time to read other things. Though they are many of them are well-read persons, but because of their busy schedules, they have been focusing only on newspaper. Without that, they can't run administration. So most of the questions in the interview also relate to what has been happening in the world around us. So please make this as the core of your strategy for the examination. Okay? And I mean it, and our director would have told you yesterday, or would be telling it, means you'll get from various sources. Someone is asking me on the online platform which newspaper and all that. This will all reach to you, okay? You just focus on the point. Newspaper can be like, you can be asked for Indian Express or say Hindu and all that, but that all will come to you. We have number of platforms through which you will get all this information. Now, I come to 4th piece of advice here. Now, from many sources around you, especially social media platform, you would have heard or you would have got this feedback. This UPSC examination is the most difficult exam of the country, or one of the most difficult in one of the toughest examinations of the world. Now, have you got such a feedback? Yes, please. Now, can I say this kind of feedback, this is the toughest examination, or one of the toughest, is based on only one logic. How do they prove this point? They prove it with the numbers, that how many students take this exam, and then they compare it with the final success. Means with that ratio they prove that this is the toughest examination. Now see, I do agree that this is a tough examination, but I do not buy their argument. Because if one thing which I have learned in last 32 years about public exams of India, and more in this examination, remember my experience has been first-hand experience with large number of students. Means if I see it from statistical point of view, my sample size has been very large. Means we have such batches every year, 30 plus batches. Imagine how much is the sample size we have, and a very representative sample. Don't think in this small room we have entire India present here. Means that's the fun, pleasure I have in teaching such a class, that I am teaching India in one go, because you come from all different parts of the country. So if someone has to see India of youth with ambitions, they should come to our classes here, no? So you have been a very good representative sample, and that too with big size. So based on that first-hand experience of 32 plus years, I tell you that this exam is tough, but it is not that tough as it is made to be. Because, and I say what I say it with a lot of honesty and sincerity, I say as much as 75% of the students who take this examination, I'm sorry to say this, but this is effect, about 75% of the students who take this exam would make simply a crowd in this examination. Those who are talking about this examination. What is 75%? Those who come to Delhi and talk about this examination for 2 or 3 years. You will find them. And unfortunately, some of you will become part of that crowd itself. So advice has been given that choose which category you are going to be. The crowd is those who talk about this examination. Just talk about this examination day after day. And they spend 3 or 4 years and then they go back without success. So it means every 4th person this examination may offer you a competition, not everyone. So it means, see, I have reduced your competition so much. So be confident now. So this exam is tough. I still say it's tough. Because 25% which is left is a big number, no? We are in India, no? When in India and China we have percentage. Absolute numbers are great. So still there is a competition. But it's not that what it is perceived to be. And take my words, I am very honest. This is one understanding I've got from very close quarters. And this is so in every public exam of India and more so in this exam. Because there is a prestige involved. No? I'm appearing for the highest services of the country. So, don't be worried much about that number who is taking this examination because majority is a crowd. And I would say, learn something from a Chinese proverb. In China, there is a very good saying, talk does not cook rice, baaton se chawal nahi bante. And we Indians, I'm sorry to say, I'm proud to be an Indian on the other hand, but I'm sorry to say that most of Indians talk about our problems, talk about our aspirations in life and many other things, but we talk more. When action is required, we are found missing. Whereas Chinese, again, we hate Chinese, but there's nothing wrong to learn from something good, which is there in every culture. Chinese are one of the most practical people on this earth. So they use this, that talk does not cook rice. And that's what I advise you today, that please don't talk about this examination. Sit on the table in your room for long hours. Don't stand on the tea stalls with the seniors and others. Talk about this examination, getting a feel of engagement in this examination. My advice is be alone for next 1.5 years. Be alone. By being alone, you will grow in personality. And by being alone, you will handle the syllabus, no? By talking about this examination, things will not be served as such. So one, I say this exam is not tough as it is perceived to be because of this reason. Now let me prove it the other way also. Now think of mains examination. Can I say, if you have seen the results of last 10-15 years of this examination, can I say the toppers who rank somewhere between 1st to the 100th rank, they get scores between 50 to 55% of the total? Am I right or not? Now please tell me any exam of your school or college where with this score you were given any praise. Don't think with this score we were in the backbenches. With this score we used to attend, or we had to attend rather, every parent-teacher meeting. And some of us know that with this score, on the day of parent-teacher meeting, we had to change our father or mother also. Yes or no? Means one friend's mother did job for many of us when teacher was new. So with these scores, the UPSC gives you the highest services of this country. Right, means I'm not asking you to write poor answers or sketchy answers, but what I'm saying is, even if you answer most of the questions of UPSC main exam in a sketchy fashion, but you answer most of the questions, you get this score and you go for the interview. So two ways I have. Remember, prelims is little difficult because this is uncertain, no? Prelims has little uncertainty about this, about the nature. But once you clear prelims, mains is much easier. And interview is just a cakewalk. Go there and don't abuse the board. No, I'm not meaning literally that you will abuse. No one will abuse, no. Abuse means that you go for the interview for the national service and there you speak like a Punjabi or Tamilian, not like an Indian. So this is abuse. You get into argument with the senior board members there. You don't behave like a student there. So that is abuse. Be a student for those 20-30 minutes. Or if that doesn't work, at least show them I'm like your son or daughter at home. Even they do not know everything, no? And you have not pushed them out of the home. So show them, means just be in conversation with them like an educated person, having a concern for the nation, knows about the problems and the solutions which may be there. So they will give you a push for selection. So prelims is little uncertain. You have to work harder than required, right? But mains becomes easier, and this is the score. But yes, having said that, these are the ways I understand exam is not that tough as it is perceived to be. But at the end, I do say it is tough. Now, the only thing which I need to suggest here to you is that what makes this exam tough. In every first lecture, I tell my class, what kills you in this exam is only one thing, and that is the size of this examination. So think of this. What kills you in this exam is size. It means the problem is not that that score 52 to 55%. The problem is you have too many papers in the main examination, and in all the papers in the same attempt, mind this word, in all the papers in the same attempt you have to get this average score. Are you getting my point? In all the papers in one given attempt. That is the problem. So what is challenging this examination is size. So if I am saying size kills you in this exam, so if you ask me for strategy, I would say simple. Before size kills you, you kill the size. But I would see every year the students being killed by size. That is why they will first think of the whole exam, but by November they will only think of prelims, and many of those students would fail in the prelims. And next year when they start the cycle, they will believe, I have enough time now, let me start what teacher suggested. Again the same story, integrated approach, but after a few months, again back to the prelims. And I tell you this happens, you will not understand because you have to undergo the process here. But we have seen it happening. So don't let yourself go into the trap of this prelims examination. Please kill the size. So I would give you a very tough target. And it's really tough, very tough if those will do it. That by end of December or beginning of January, please have 60 to 70% coverage of this syllabus in notes, handmade notes on the majority of the, like from the prelims as well as mains examination. And this is very tough. For this you have to sit from day one on your table for many hours together. Make synoptic note. Remember, if you have to kill the size, then I would say follow one great person in history, Henry Ford. Remember Ford? He gave us many things in industry, assembly line production technique and all that. I follow one of his advice I find very, very practical. He used to say, nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small parts. So this UPSC exam is very big, size may kill you. So if you want to kill the size, Ford's advice is that divide it into smaller parts and handle each part every day. So do not compete with anyone in this examination. You have to compete with your own self. Don't make big plans in this examination, because the plan you make this week, next week you are more mature about the examination, so the previous week's plan would go waste. So every time you will make a plan and it goes waste, because your picture about this examination is changing with your maturity, with your stay in Delhi. So I would say only one plan, that tell yourself that when I go to the bed today, I'll go with some level of satisfaction. And tomorrow when I wake up, I'll wake up with a new determination. Means you need to be like Japanese. Japanese, when they started from their shattered economy after the war, they told themselves only one thing, that improvement alone will not take us anywhere. We have to have continuous improvement. And you know, Japan has all kinds of problems given by nature as well as given by world society. And they made this rule that improvement alone will not take us anywhere. We'll have to improve continuously. And today, you know, even the Western world has a fear about the kind of things Japanese do. This is what you have to do. That compete with your own self every day, keep improving, keep raising your benchmark every day. And you have to do it for next 1.5 years, and results should be great. Remember, success is like science. If you have the conditions, results do happen. It means success is like being in a physics lab. If you set your apparatus correctly, results do happen. Success is like being in a chemistry lab. Mix the right chemicals the right way, reactions do take place. So set your apparatus in Delhi the correct way. Okay, that's what my advice is. So, an average student of Indian universities can do this examination if there is a will to crack. If you are willing to work hard for this examination, we need just an average student. And I give a caution to the meritorious students. There are some toppers of the universities of India. They also waste time clearing this examination many a times. Why? Because they misunderstand that their merit of the past will make them pass this examination. But remember, the problem in this exam is size. So before merit, you need to have hard work. You have to kill the size whether you have been a topper or an average student. Because my understanding of this exam is very simple. The year you complete 3/4 of the syllabus of this examination, you have all the reasons to have success in this examination. But the problem is students take too many years to complete that portion. So choice is yours. Are you going to waste prime years of this golden phase of your life, or for this one examination, or you have to crack it in the very first go? Choice is yours. Remember, I don't see fun in those claims where newspaper and other sources say this student did this exam in sixth attempt, and they glorify that result. I see you wasted 6 golden years, no? So please do it in the first attempt. It may be 1.5 or 2 years time, because the exam itself is too long. No, it is not in 1 year's time as such. Now, some students are now having faces expression as if that does this teacher know geography or not? No. So geography I'll show you a little late, but these are also important, no? Because if you do not have the right track, then no results would come. Now, before I go to the other section, let me give one extra advice. That is, like 4 I have given you, no? Now I come to the 5th one, but this is not about exam in particular. It is about your personal life. Now, I am going to encroach in your personal life now. And for that reason, many of you may not like what I am going to say. Every time when I come for such a first lecture, I ask myself not to say this. But when I am in the process, I can't stop. And the point is that in last 32 years in this relationship with the students, I have seen many good students spoil their examination preparation and the stay here in Delhi for the reason when they are in Delhi, they get into relationships. Remember, I understand, the age you are in, this is the best age for companionship. I hope you understand, no? You'll agree. And I'm in favor of companionship. Because at the end of the day, no rank in any particular service will give you satisfaction. Satisfaction will come at home, no? With good family life around, with the kids you have at home, and with the partner you have at home. That is the final kind of happiness you get in life, with the loved ones around you. But now, though this is the best age for companionship, but I have seen, since this exam needs a focused approach, if you go into that relationship, then you spoil that examination preparation. So I have seen many good students of Indian universities wasting their attempts in Delhi only for this reason. Remember, heart prevails over mind in many cases, no? So your heart will justify. How? Justification will come. Half notes I'll make, half notes he or she will make. And I'll come from back and I'll say both together will fail. I hope you understand. So think of this. I tell you, your heart will justify every step in this direction. You'll say that person is studying alone, whereas we will work as a team. But I tell you, you will remember, if you are two together, you will take number of attempts. Perhaps you will not clear the exam. So be alone, I repeat, that's what I said in the beginning, be alone to your own self for next 1.5 years. You will grow in many different ways. And you will be able to have focused approach for this examination. But the problem is, some of the students have already come in pairs from hometown. Yes or no? For them, I have nothing to advise. They should think over. But they have come with the planning only, no? Together we'll go to Delhi. But anyway, the list, like we don't have so much of vacancies also. So, those who are still single, now, since this is a topic which I should not focus more, I'm being recorded also. So, over the years, to cut short this discussion, I have made a statement. I have made a slogan. I end this discussion by saying, do remember, your selection after selection will be always a better selection. Take your time. Some students have understood. Some tubelights will understand later. Your selection after selection will always be a better selection. Remember, once in Missouri, you will have a list to choose from. And I say it for both of you. Means both genders. So no gender bias here. I'm not saying only for one gender. Both gender will have list to choose from. Today you do not have that list. So remember, do take time to make commitments in life, no? And in India, you know, we do it only once. We have monogamy. Western society also has monogamy. But beauty is, they have serial monogamy. One partner at a time, but you can change the partner. Here they go for fixing us for 7 janmo ke. And now see, there's some student going ahead of me and our lecture. He says, I'm already married. So I'm not asking that. So let's get it off, because I told you this point is such that I need not focus like beyond a particular level. Those who have understood the message, they will perhaps work on it. Anyway, I see every year after this class, as the course goes on, I see this pledge being broken by many on tea stalls. I see in this area. I stay here only. No? So every day I see that what I advise is not being followed. But some students would understand the point. Fine, good. This is the first section of the lecture. But still I will not come to geography. Now second section. See, as a teacher, when I meet a class for any lecture, I give some thoughts for the day. By thoughts I mean, I give some proverbs, some quotes. Now, what is the purpose for such kind of things? Means my lecture begins with thoughts of the day. First purpose is for keeping you motivated for this examination. In psychology, they say you need motivation on a regular basis. Since you are away from your elders in the family, so being a little elder to you by 6-7 years, and that's the only age gap. So I'll take the responsibility of your parents and your elders at home, that whenever I meet you, I'll give you some thoughts for motivation. To the extent I can do, I'll do so. Second, you know, from your school and college, for a good essay, you need good idea. And I add, for a good idea, you need many ideas first. So these thoughts will give you ideas for the body of the essay. These very thoughts will give you a good statement for introduction of the essay. A similar thought may give you a good conclusion for essay writing. So in essay paper, which is so important for a good rank, you will have the help of these quotes and all that. So by giving you some quotes and proverbs, I wish that you must inculcate a hobby to collect more of these. So I'll do my job of initiating you. You must do something in addition also, and you'll be having a great help in writing a essay. You have seen many of the topics in UPSC syllabus, they themselves are more of quotes only, they are philosophical in nature. So if anyone who is not familiar with these quotes would not even understand the quote there in the examination. And if you do not understand the title, how do you write 1200 words on that? So I'll do this job for essay paper. Similarly, the same quotes would be important for ethics paper. And lastly, I'll say, human life, again, I say, is too short. We cannot have every experience of the world our own self. So what are these quotes and proverbs? Don't think they are the gist of learning of great people from different cultures of the world. So with no time investment, one thought can teach us a very important lesson for whole life, what we may have to learn otherwise by spending decades of our own life. So to enrich our lives, I believe these thoughts are of great help. With all these kind of purposes, I have made this practice over the years that before I start my lecture, I give thoughts. And today I'll start with the same practice. And one point here, when I give these thoughts, I do not tell you who said so. Because if we were to remember with every statement the source also, then we can't remember too much, no? Remember what is important, thought or the source? Thought is important for all these kind of reasons. So I make a rule that to remember more thoughts, I'll avoid the source. You can always write whenever you use a thought as someone has rightly said, no? So you need not name the person, but thought must be reproduced to the extent possible the correct way. Now today it's our first lecture, so I'll give you very simple thoughts, and some thoughts relate to my subject. Remember, I have been a student of geography and ecology. I love nature, I study nature, so I'll begin with nature itself. I'll give you two simple thoughts for nature, then for motivation. All are simple, but as I go with the classes, I'll keep raising the philosophical level so that you get trained for that essay paper and ethics paper also. So write a very simple thought first. Nature nurtures us, we must nurture nature. There's a student who said, I'm married, student is writing, should I stay away from my kid and family for preparation? No. Be in their company and use them as a tool for motivation, no. Tell yourself every day, I am doing this for the family members, no. In fact, as I go with the classes, I'll tell you that don't study for your own sake, study for your children. Don't think by being in the services, you can give your children a better start in life. Think of it. With your selection, the examination, you can give your parents a different environment today. This is what is generation improvement, that every generation needs to go for something better. So I would say, as the classes go further, that don't work for your own self, work for the beloved ones at home. Work for your children so that they get a better status in life. They get a better platform to begin with. So no need to be away from your, don't misunderstand that I'm here to spoil someone's family life, no. Be with them, enjoy their company, and keep working hard. Second one, let's see how many of you understand the second. Nature to be commanded must be obeyed. What does it mean? Now see, after Industrial Revolution, mankind misunderstood that we have understood nature, and mankind thought will exploit this nature to our advantage. But over a period of time, we have understood that we never understood nature. Remember in school and college, you used to participate in those campaigns where you used to hold these slogans, the boards saying, we need to save nature. But now we understand nature doesn't need a saving. Who needs a saving? It is the man who needs a saving. And how can you understand that nature is far supreme? Nature doesn't need any saving. One ecologist has given a very good thought experiment. One ecologist has said, he says that do one thought experiment. He says, close your eyes and imagine by tomorrow morning, no human being is left on this earth. And then further imagine what would happen to our mother nature after 200 years. So think of it. You don't need to close eyes, no? You don't know who is the person sitting next. Tell me, what would happen to Mother Nature after 200 years if no human being is left on this earth? Can I say every one of you will come to the same conclusion that nature will come to its past glory? Means nature will come to what it used to be if mankind is not there. Yes or no? So it means who needs whom? Nature doesn't need us. Nature is better without us. So who are we to save nature? So today ecologists have given a rule, nature to be commanded must be obeyed. The only way to manage nature for our advantage is that we must follow the rules of nature. This is what we have understood by studying nature. Remember, ignorance doesn't lead to wonder in life. What leads to wonder in life is more knowledge. More you know, more you understand that my knowledge is shallow. So now we understand that we never understood nature. So don't you think such kind of thoughts may give you the right approach for an essay writing? No? That someone in essay would be saving nature, but some student understands nature doesn't need a saving, it is a man who needs it. Our own survival today is under threat because of climate change. Okay? Now write the next one. Ambition is the path to success. Remember, ambition has brought you here in Delhi. But is that alone sufficient? No. So I write one more sentence in the same. Persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. So ambition provides you the path for success. But what is the vehicle which will take you to success? It is set of persistent efforts. Work hard for next 1.5 years. Be alone, I repeat. I'm repeating this point because this is what you need. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Is this understood? Has it happened in school or college to some that you kept postponing something and you lost some opportunities what your friends could avail or your cousins could avail, or you were the ones who could avail and others could not avail? No. So don't postpone anything in this examination. Remember, if you start from day one today, then you may be able to have all what is required for this examination. Anyone who postpones the things for this examination for next 2 or 3 months, I tell you with my experience of this exam, that please consider yourself out of the race for the next year's exam. Even if you postpone the things for 2 or 3 months. Your batch is starting right on time, no? You have enough time for this examination. But don't postpone. Don't waste any time now. And this is very important for you to remember. If it matters to you, you will find a way. I hope this is understood. If this exam is important for you, if you want to change the context of your own family and the beloved ones around, or if you have a concern for the nation, then you certainly will find the way to success. The next one is good for essay writing. When you're writing for some social issues related topic, the essay, you may find this statement useful for the context of India today. Humans are brought into being the mountains of hate, rivers of inflexible traditions, and oceans of ignorance. Is this understood? And as the youth in this country, you need to work against it. One more for essay writing. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. I hope this is understood. Ignorance would cost you more in life in the long run, no? And don't misunderstand, I'm not trying to justify the fee we have charged. Okay, this is... Fine, so this section is also over. Now, before I go for the third section, let us make one or two small rules. Or rather, let's have a list of references, the things you need for my section, one or two books, and then I'll come to something else. See, as I said in the beginning, I'm here with you for only some portions of physical geography. We have a team of 4 teachers dealing with nature. There will be 2 more teachers with me, Mr. Rijwan, Mr. Shivarpit. They will take other areas of same geography. And Ms. Vaishali will take areas of ecology plus some areas of geography also. So a team of 4 teachers. And for my areas, I would recommend this book. There's a school certificate geography book by G.C. Leong. It is famous after the name of the author. You just can write School Certificate Geography by G.C. Leong. It's an old book. But since we have to deal with physical portion only, so old edition would not harm us in that sense. So this is only one book I wish to have. And otherwise you are reading NCERTs. Yes, have you started with your NCERTs? But my advice is that please don't keep reading NCERTs, no? Means, unfortunately, I find the students who are here for 2 or 3 years, when they meet us on the road, they are still asking such stupid questions. Should I read the old ones or new ones? It means they have still not read NCERTs. And remember, one more point, reading a book is not our goal. You may read a book 10 times, but what is the use of it? If you are not able to apply that knowledge to crack a question or to write an answer in the mains examination. So don't go for such mechanical approach. There are some students who ask such question that, sir, which books are to be read for getting a rank in this examination? When a student asks me such a question, I understand there is a basic problem with the student. Remember, you have to reach to that level of preparation where you can handle that syllabus and previous year's question papers. Reading a book 10 times or 5 times is not the solution. But you start, do NCERTs on a project basis. And go with the classes also, because some content of even school books you will understand better after the lectures. Okay, so go for a judicious mix, that you have to, whatever you learn here, with that learning you complete this reading faster, more efficiently. Be like a private sector, not like a public sector. Remember, private sector is good for effectiveness as well as efficiency, whereas public sectors of India have only given us in terms of effectiveness. Efficiency has been like not there, no. So you need to be efficient. You have a lot to do in the minimum possible time. And one, you need a school atlas. Any school atlas will do. If you have any atlas with you already, if it is not very old edition, please continue with that. Okay. Those who have to purchase, there are number of school, publications, all are equally good or bad. You can use, for example, Orient Black Swan. So there is one by Orient Black Swan. There is one by Oxford, or any other publication, right? And one simple advice for atlas reading. See, some students will ask me later how to use atlas and all that. My first suggestion would be, when you go to school level books like from 6th standard onward for physical geography, you may get different continents being described with their physical features and all that. That is the best way to start. Go to a continent, read the NCERT book, information on that, and trace those major physical features from the atlas. Okay, this will give you overall a knowledge about the world map. Then whatever topics we teachers do, for that map may be relevant. For example, if after a few days I teach you ocean currents of the world, then we need to see major ocean currents in the world map. If other teacher goes for physical geography of India, so the ranges in Himalayas, rivers of India, national parks of India, they all will come in the lectures. Then you need to see those locations. And remember, there is a lot to do in this examination. There is no time for you to rest now. You have to be on your toes for next 1.5 years. Then these kind of things can be done in the first attempt itself. So first get the overall familiarity of the world map through school books from 6th standard onward by sitting on your table, your own self. Then we'll teach you these topics, we'll show you those things in the atlas. Then newspaper will take you to the atlas. Remember, I told you questions don't come from vacuum. So any particular area which is in news for a number of days together, questions certainly would come from that area. Okay. So you need to get familiar with that area. Whatever is in news, if it is there in news for a few days, it means it's an important area. Okay. But one advice here, when you use atlas, please don't be like Arjun. Remember Arjun? Arjun as a mythological hero is known for what? Focused approach. Means if Arjun was in my geography class, and I ask the students to locate a place P on the world map, so what Arjun will do? Arjun will only have P and rest of the world map would become blank. So I don't want that. This strategy won't work in UPSC. Because one simple trick used by UPSC examiners is that if this particular area is in news, they want to ask question on that area. Because this has given them a context that this is important this year. But they also know that students would have prepared this. So what they do is, they may have one of the two kind of possibilities. They may ask a question about the larger area. rather than that area only what was in news. Or they may ask the question about this area only, but they would ask some dimension which was not there in the news. This was some other dimension of the same area. I hope you understand. So that is why I say, sit on the table yourself for long hours. Remember, you are in the best phase. With the click of the button in your room, you have the world's knowledge at your disposal. Yes or no? Remember 30 years back, when we as a student have to have a assignment or some presentation in the college, first we had to search for a book. And after days of search, we used to get some good book and then prepare. And today you have everything on your table with the laptop, internet connection. So do wonders. Remember, the only thing you have to do is you have to study. The institutes of this area are competing with each other to give you free information, no? More than what you need. So you are in the best possible phase where technology is in your favor. You just need to sit, and that is the only problem I see in my family and all, extended family, that children of your age, they are multifaceted. They are doing much more than what we used to do in our days. But one thing they don't do is they don't sit on the table for long hours. So that is what you have to do. Otherwise, you are means you really have multiple talents. You can do wonders in this examination easily because you are with technology today. So whenever you have a particular area in news, don't just see that area. For that dimension which was in the news, look for other dimensions of that area, see what other things are important here, and second, look around that what else is there in that area. And simple questions come in your current affairs based on atlas. It means what I'm saying is, don't be like Arjun in this examination. Be like your own self, the way you are on the road outside. Not understood. Most of you, when you are on the road outside, you keep looking around, no? Society says don't look at some particular things, but you always include. Means you always have a large picture frame on the road outside. So please have such frames in atlas reading also, right? In your preparation for this examination. Keep your horizons very wide. Keep collecting more and more. Who knows what element will come handy for eliminating certain choices to reach the right kind of option for the examination. Okay. So one atlas, GC Leong and NCERTs in general. Okay. Now let us come to the next. Now I am going to start with geography. Wait is over. Now I am going to start with geography, but before that I make two rules. In all classes when I meet, I use one statement very often. I keep asking students to be on the board. So when I use this phrase, be on the board, it means I am asking students to focus on what I am speaking on the board. And after I have finished my point, I will certainly make you write the notes, okay? But some students have a fear that perhaps teacher will not make us write. See, whatever is relevant out of my discussion on the board, I'll certainly make you write. I'm a very structured teacher. Means I go in very sequential way. I speak on the board, make you understand to the extent of my abilities, and then I'll make you write. So don't do both the things, because when I speak, you write, I feel neglected. So don't make me feel neglected in these classes and follow my advice. Be on the board means be on the board. Second suggestion, second point. I'm going to teach geography, and you know the relevance of globe here. So many students would expect that teacher of geography would bring a globe to teach the basic concepts of earth and all that. Remember, carrying globe and using it for teaching is not that easy. It's not that convenient for me. So what I do in my classes is, whenever I hold my left hand like this, you will see a globe there. It's okay. And I'll do wonders with this, don't worry. I'll teach you entire geography with my hand. Sometimes like this, sometimes like this, okay? Do you see a globe? Yes, this is the kind of obedience I want. That everything I'll teach in geography relating to the world with my hand. West to east rotation, all I'll do with this, no? And this is what I've done over the years, over the decades now. So you will gain more than if I was doing with this globe. You will find with the hand I'll do better. Okay. Now, let's start with geography, but even in this section, I will not do what you have been thinking about geography. Okay. So in the next 45 minutes, I'll introduce my subject of geography first the way the book does, and then I'll show you something very interesting. In the next 45-50 minutes time, I'll prove to my class that geography is very special subject and it would help you in answer writing for every other subject. Think of this. Means this might be ambiguous statement at this moment. I'm saying geography will help you in social issues. It would help you in economics. It helps you in politics. Means you name a subject. Geography can help you in every answer writing. Now, you might be surprised with this statement, but I'm going to convince you on this in the next 45-50 minutes. Let's have first conventional approach. Be on the board and don't write. See here. You know from school days that this word geography is a combination of two roots, geo and graphin. Geo means earth and graphin, you know, means a description, discourse. So it means my notes will say, in a literal sense, geography is the description of my planet Earth. So we describe our Earth in this subject. Now, having said this, I take you back into history. You know, not only for geography, for many subjects we study in school and colleges, Greeks had laid the foundations. Means in many subjects we study today, Greeks have been the pioneers. Am I right or not? Not in all subjects, but most of the subjects. And the same happened for geography also. So I'm going to say today, Greeks have been the first geographers of the world. And amongst these Greeks, there was a scholar who lived in 3rd century BC. Means we Indians go for a wrong pronunciation, Eratosthenes, but the original pronunciation would be Eratosthenes. So we'll say it Eratosthenes. Now the name is not important for us, but since I'm starting my subject, so I need to mention this father figure. He was the one, this Eratosthenes was the one who gave us the term geography, and let us see how did he define this term in 3rd century BC. He gave a very simple definition of it. He said, geography is the study of the earth. So think of it, study of the earth as the home of man. Now look at this simple sentence that he said geography is the study of the earth as home of man. And this definition works well even today, though it was given centuries back. And this sentence also tells us that geography is a very rich subject. See, in most of the subjects, you study nature. In some other subjects, you study man. But this is the only subject perhaps, or at least one of the few subjects where we study man, nature both together and their interactions also. Because this statement should be understood that way. I'm saying it is a study of the earth as the home of man. So it means not only we are focusing on both nature and man, we are focusing on interaction, because how a given area of the world would become home of the man. Don't think to make the area as home, there has to be a particular interaction. Rajasthanis have one interaction with the desert environment, whereas people in the Middle East have some other interaction with the same kind of desert. And similarly, the mountains of the world or coastal areas of the world. So perhaps we are starting today a very rich subject because it studies man, it studies nature, and it studies the third thing also, the interactions. Think of other subject which does all the three. Perhaps we'll have little difficulty in visualizing such a subject, no? Because subjects either deal with man, psychology, or deal with nature, physics. But when you have geography, it is focusing on both as well as the interaction. So this is what makes my subject rich. This is what is given in every school book. But I'll go beyond. I'm not saying this is the reason that why I said that this subject will help us writing a good answer in other subjects also. This is not the basis. I'll do something different little later. Now please write 1 or 2 sentences, then I'll take you further. Please write. Please write this way, geography, break this into 2 parts, geo plus graphene. Geo plus graphene. And again put a hyphen and write. It literally means the study of the earth as the home of man. It means the study of the earth as the home of man. Sorry, what did you write? Just write the way, sorry, like write, literally it means description of the earth. I'll come back, I mix the two. You just write. I was focusing on one student and I mix it. See, there is a, such kind of statement should not be written. There is a student, Tushar, writing, sir, I'm bad at geography, I'm unable to learn and all that. See, don't start your preparation with this, I'm bad or I'm weak or something, no? No one is weak in anything. Means that statement disturbed me and I was thinking of something different. Please start this phase of your life with a positive frame of mind, okay? Remember, nothing is something difficult like which you cannot learn. You just have to put some efforts and you will learn everything, no? If others can do it, you can also do it and perhaps you can do better than others. So I repeat, it literally means description of the earth. Is okay? Then right, next point. Greeks are supposed to be the first geographers of the world. Greeks are supposed to be the first geographers of the world. And now you write, Eratosthenes coined the term geography. Coined the term geography and defined it as the study of the earth as the home of man. And defined it as the study of the earth as the home of man. Now be on the board after this. See here. I take a learning from this and I keep it on the site for some further discussion later. So when I say or when we understand geography is the study of the earth as the home of man, can I say it simply tells us that our primary focus in this subject of geography would be on the earth's surface? Because where is the home of man? It is on the earth's surface. So when we know our subject, geography is the study of the earth as the home of man and home lies on the surface. So it means one learning immediately comes is my focus primarily would be on surface. But we also understand the surface is getting affected every day from inside processes as well as outside processes. So the other teacher who will deal, see this is, let me create a background. This is the way we represent earth. 3 parts, atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere, solid part of the earth. And here is the intersection of the 3. which is the life layer of the earth. So, biosphere, the life layer of the earth, will be more focused by Miss Vaishali for ecology. We'll also talk in geography about this, but focus of ecology would be more on life here. My section, what I'm going to deal with, my focus majorly would be on atmosphere and some portion focus on the world ocean also, hydrosphere. Mr. Rijwan will focus more on lithosphere, and Mr. Shivarpit would focus on Indian geography more, the economic aspects, agriculture, irrigation, and what government is doing and all that. Okay, though will be there will be some areas which are will be overlapping also, but this is the prime focus, right? Now, though Mr. Rijwan would focus more on lithosphere, but since it's our first lecture, so let me just mention one thing, that though my primary focus is on their surface, but this surface is being affected by processes from inside of the earth. And in the other teachers' classes, you will get this term, that processes which operate from inside of the earth, they are called endogenetic processes. Like for example, earthquakes, volcanism, or you might have heard of those movements which are done under a theory called plate tectonics. So processes from inside of the earth are endogenetic, and the processes which operate from outside would be called as exogenetic. Now, just to give one small point, though other teacher will take up in detail. Now let us think of volcanism as endogenetic process and understand what exactly is the pursuit of inside processes. Now, by focusing on volcanism as an example, can I say, when there is volcanic eruption, there is a new feature being added. The magma, molten material from inside of the earth comes out, we call it as lava, and that lava solidifies. It means, can I say, endogenetic processes are trying to change the earth surface by giving a new feature on the earth surface, like this volcanic hill. But the moment this comes on the earth surface, there is action of exogenetic processes, like moving air called wind, moving water called river, moving mass of ice called glacier. All are trying to do what? They are trying to break this rock and then take the material, and they want to deposit it in the low-lying areas of the world. So rivers are trying to break the Himalayas. Material is being taken to the plains of India or into the ocean, Bay of Bengal. So what is the pursuit of exogenetic processes? Can I say the exogenetic processes are trying to level the surface again? So it means, do you understand in 2 minutes time that Earth's surface is a battlefield between endo and exogenetic processes? It means, if I was to define landscape, see in the other teachers' classes you will do first the term landform. What is landform? The form of the land. Somewhere you have a hill, somewhere you have plateau formation, somewhere you have more or less a plain, somewhere you have a valley. These are all different landforms. But when you go to an area, you will not get one of them, you will get an assemblage of these landforms. So when you focus on the assemblage of landforms, your other teacher will say, this is called landscape. So landform is one single feature, a valley or hill, and landscape is a collection. When you go to some part of Himalayas, you will have some plain area, you will have some hill, you will have some, say, valley region. So that collection is called landscape. Now, if you understand the term landscape, can I say a landscape represents the stage of the eternal fight between endo and exogenetic processes. This is, every landscape of the world is what? A stage of that fight which is going on between endo and exogenetic. Now, let us see it in the context of some mountains in India. Think of Himalayas and think of Aravallis. You have read in school books that these both are fold mountains of the world. Have you heard of this term? And when you read about Himalayas, the book says these are the highest, youngest fold mountains. Highest, youngest. Whereas when you read about Aravallis, they say these are one of the oldest fold mountains of the world. When we say oldest or one of the oldest, it means in the case of Aravallis, the fight of the two endo-and exogenetic processes has been going for millions of years. Whereas in the case of Himalayas, the fight has just begun, just 65 million years back. Think of it. 65 million years is no time in this subject of geography and geology. So, in the case of Himalayas, the exogenetic processes have not been able to show their might. That is why they have what kind of surface features, what kind of topography. There would be a word topography in the other teacher subject. Topography means earth surface configuration, shapes. So Himalayas represent what kind of surface? Youthful. How do we understand youthfulness of a landscape? The higher elevation, conical peaks, very V-shaped valleys, rivers with lot of energy. So all these higher elevation, conical peaks, very deep V-shaped valleys and rivers with enormous amounts of energy, that all represent what? Youthfulness. Why rivers in Himalayas have great energy? Because rivers' energy is out of the position, the height. So higher elevation the Himalayas will give more energy to the rivers. But when you read out Aravallis, the books will say these are one of the relict mountains of the world. Means leftover, residual kind of things. They have a senile topography, means old age, the old age kind of features. So what are Aravallis? The Aravallis which were once upon a time higher than Himalayas. This is what geologists believe, that Aravallis were higher than Himalayas, but today they are low in elevation. Their peaks are not conical, their peaks are rounded. Their valleys are not V-shaped, their valleys are very shallow and U-shaped. Rivers have almost no energy left. So this is what you understand as senile. So I hope you understand that every landscape represents a stage of eternal fight between endo and exo. Now, this is what other teacher will just do more in detail, so I need not focus much, but I just wanted to tell you our primary surfaces, our primary focus is on this surface, but this surface gets affected by endo and exo. Means we'll certainly talk about these things also. So what you do is, since this is not the main point of the lecture today for me, because it is done in the other classes, so write on the margin somewhere, a landscape represents, write on the margin, always have a margin in the notebook, okay, where you write some extra points of the lecture. And I generally, if you do not misunderstand, I always suggest my students, do have a margin in life also. You never know whom you have to adjust on the way. You will understand after the class, please write. See, keep making your life richer every day. No? So you will find many such elements, people around you, whom you have to keep at the sideline, not in the mainframe. Because mainframe is left for someone. So please write. Please write. A landscape represents the stage of the eternal. Eternal means ever going on. Eternal fight between endogenetic and exogenetic processes. Between endogenetic and exogenetic processes. Yes, is this statement understood? Now, to stop here in this particular statement, can I say it's no need to write, but think of it. Can I say it's something like, man proposes, God disposes. It means endogenetic forces are trying to propose a new feature on the earth surface. And what is the pursuit of the exogenetic? They want to dispose of. That is the kind of fight going on in nature on the earth surface. Okay. Now, let's come back to my section. So, we have got this learning. The primary focus of this subject is on the, yes please, surface of the earth. Now, let's bring a twist to this discussion further. Be on the board. Whenever you come to a tent the first lecture of any subject, you would expect from the teacher, means the subject today is geography. So when you come to attend the first lecture of any subject, you expect from the student who has come to teach you to tell you about the boundary of that subject in terms of content it studies. Am I right or not? Conventionally, you have been given this understanding that every subject focuses on some particular study material. Means every subject has some boundary to what it studies. Am I right or not? So today, implicitly you have this point in mind that by the end of this lecture, teacher would in the introductory part certainly tell us that what is the content we study in geography. He will draw the boundary to the subject in terms of content. But I am going to surprise my class today that geography is so special a subject that there is no boundary to my subject in terms of content it studies. It means I am making a very big claim for my subject that we geographers study almost everything of nature and human society. Means content it does not delimit my subject called geography. We study almost everything of nature as well as, because I told you we focus on man as well as nature. We study almost everything of nature and human society. And therefore I say content does not delimit my subject. Now when I am saying this, some students must be having a feel that perhaps this teacher is in some sort of high here. It means he has taken something wrong in the morning. He is not in his proper senses. He must be on a high, because that is why he is making such a claim that this subject studies everything of human society as well as nature. But let me tell you that I am in my proper senses. I am not on any high. I have 2 more classes in the day. How can I afford to be on high on a day when I have to have 3 classes? If it was off, I might have thought of. So I'm in very proper senses and still say this. And if you remain with me for next half an hour or so, I'll convince you about my proposition. So it means I'm saying now, I'm making a claim that first I said my focus is this subject is on the, yes please, Earth's surface. And now I'm saying that we geographers study almost everything of nature and human society found on the Earth's surface. Now, suddenly you want some sort of reason, the analysis for this to be understood, no? That how come I'm saying that there's no boundary to my subject. So see here, I'm saying geography is very special. It doesn't have any boundary in terms of content. Now, there may be some student who may say, sir, okay, I agree with your proposition. But since your subject is one particular subject called geography, so there must be some defining feature. Means what is my point? That content does not define my subject. We geographers study almost everything of nature and human society. So some good student who is with me, he or she will ask me that, sir, then what defines your subject? Then my answer is, content does not define my subject. What defines my subject is the methodology, the method, the approach I use. It means as a geographer, I can study everything. But how do I study that thing? That is what makes me a geographer. So what I study does not make me a geographer. But how do I study that? That is what makes me a geographer. So my subject of geography is defined not by the content I study, but the way I study what I study. It means what defines my subject is not content. What defines my subject is the methodology we use. Because we can study everything what others are studying. Means I can study what a sociologist is studying. I can study what physics student is studying. But what makes me different from them? The approach. So now the question in the mind would be, sir, what is that method? Yes or no? That what defines geography? My answer is, the method which defines me or my subject, geography, is called spatial analysis. Now what is the next question in your mind? What is spatial analysis? Now before I teach you that, let's write this sentence at least, that we have taken a very big point here. So please write, geography is governed by a method. Geography is governed by a method rather by a specific body of knowledge. Geography is governed by method, rather by a specific body of knowledge, and this method is spatial analysis. And this method is spatial analysis. Now what is the question after this? What is spatial? So let's be on the board for this discussion. Now see, please don't write and follow me on the board. When you ask me, sir, what is spatial analysis? My simple response will be, first, that spatial analysis would mean analyzing something with respect to space. So when you analyze anything with respect to space, it is called spatial analysis. But when I say this only, that analysis of something with respect to space is called spatial analysis, many of you may say, sir, doesn't make much sense to us, no? Means you may be looking for some more concrete understanding of it. So what I'll do is, I'll make you understand spatial analysis by giving some concrete approach, by taking you back to school geography. Let's go back to school days and recall what kind of things we studied in geography, and let's also recall how did we study. Now can I say, just to take a few examples, can I say in school geography we studied physical features of the world? Like for example, 4 mountains I mentioned today, like Himalayas, Alps in Europe or Aravallis. So we studied physical features. Can I say we also studied resources of the world, like oil, like iron and all that. We studied the climates of the world. We studied the soils of the world. We studied vegetation types like forests, grasslands, deserts. We studied volcanoes of the world. We studied earthquakes and many more other such things. Am I right? Let's recall how did we study, by taking 1 or 2 examples only. How did we study physical features like 4 mountains? Can I say our school book or our school teacher under 4 mountains first defined what are 4 mountains? Having defined the 4 mountains, they gave us a map with the distribution of these 4 mountains. And through that map distribution, we were told that there is a spatial pattern of distribution. Means we were told that 4 mountains are not found everywhere in the world. There are certain locations only where you have the 4 mountains, like for example Himalayas, were seen at the junction of 2 plates, the Indian plate and Eurasian plate. Andes were seen at the junction of the Pacific plate and South American plate. So we were told with the distribution of the 4 mountains on the map that there is a spatial design, there is a spatial pattern. Then the same school teacher, the book made us understood why the pattern is the way it is. They gave us a reason for the existence of these fold mountains at certain locations by certain processes of nature which we cover under the theory called plate tectonics. Then after this was done, they gave us some features that how these fold mountains have evolved over a time. That Himalayas have youthful, whereas the Aravallis have senile topography. Then some resources and other such things were given. That how these mountains are useful for physical things or resources in general. Am I right? This is the way we did it. Yes, please. Let's have one more example. Let's come to resources and focus on oil. How did we study oil in geography classes as a resource? So first teacher defined what is a resource. Anything which brings utility to mankind is called resource. Then under resource classification we identified oil. Then we were given again the map with the distribution of oil. Then again we were told there is a spatial pattern. The oil is not found everywhere. There are certain locations of the world where you have surplus oil. There are certain rocks of the world which contain oil. Then we were given the reasons why there is such a spatial pattern. Then we went to the practical usage of it and we were told oil has a lot of geopolitics attached to it. Yes or no? So 2 or 3 years back there was a question in the main exam, right from the newspaper only, just to justify what I was saying earlier, that they asked in 15 marks question in the main exam that discuss briefly the unequal distribution of oil, and then second half of the question, which was the major portion, they asked that discuss all what has been relating to the politics of this oil in the last 1.5 years, focusing on the price of the oil. So don't you think this question comes from last year's happenings, that how politics in the world was affecting the price of this oil. So you can, by reading NCERT, you can just write the introduction part, the unequal distribution, no? But to write the second half, the major part of the answer, you had to have the knowledge of that year's happenings. That's why if you get if you are investing 4 hours in the newspaper, nothing wrong with that. In the same year, there was a question on volcanism. The first part of the question said, discuss briefly which are the major ejections out of a volcanic eruption. Conventional thing. But the major part of the question says, discuss this volcanism in the context of last year's important eruptions. Because in that last year, we had more eruptions than generally we get otherwise. So it means more eruption in a particular year gave us a reason for that question in the exam. Remember, every good examiner wants to justify why did I ask this question. It was not because of my whims and fancies. The context needed this question, that I wanted to know, is a student in this country aware about what is happening in the world? He or she is well informed or not? So they want to take you away from the books, but at the same time, they have to have something of the books relating to what is happening in the present times. So it should not be some university examination. It should be something with the times, that what the world is talking about at a given point of time. So you know there is a lot of geopolitics of the oil resource. Now can I say the same way we studied rest of the things? Yes, please. In everything we first said what it is, then we went for the distribution, then there was a pattern of it, we studied why the pattern is like this and rest of the related things. So I would say this is what we have done. This is what is called spatial analysis. What I'm doing? I'm seeing oil with respect to space. When I'm going for spatial pattern, I'm looking at the fold mountains in terms of pattern, space. I'm relating fold mountains of the world to space. So this is what I was saying. When we analyze something with respect to space, it is called spatial analysis. But can I say, most of our school teachers, they did this only, but they never told us that this is called spatial analysis. Am I right or not? Means I'm not saying school teachers are not good, but the way they have taught us, majority of them, they never told us this is called spatial, because most of our schooling was mechanical. So school teachers should have told us that geography is all about spatial analysis, and we are doing this. Don't you think? Perhaps even in a topic we otherwise would not have done it. We would have written a good answer in the exam if we were knowing that we have to do simply a spatial analysis. But we did all numerically or mechanically, that we didn't understand what is being done, but we just copied it the way it was done in the class. So is everyone okay that this is called spatial analysis? Now, let's take this discussion further. Now look at the entire list. Can I say whatever is written on the board here, we studied in school, has one common feature, that all these things which we studied in geography, for which we did spatial analysis, they all have a non-uniform distribution on the earth surface. Think of this, take your time, that all what I studied in school geography, for which we did spatial analysis in this subject, they had what kind of distribution? They had a non-uniform distribution. So my point now is, the things which we study in geography are having a non-uniform distribution, and geographers, as geographers, we do a spatial analysis of that how it is distributed in that non-uniform fashion, and then we investigate the questions like why it is so. It means, I hope you understand this point, that if this is my earth surface, and on this earth surface, if something is available everywhere, then I have no reason to do any spatial analysis. Means, when would you need a spatial analysis? When you have non-uniform distribution. If there is something which is available everywhere, where there is a scope for doing spatial analysis. Are you getting my point or not? It means my discussion is saying those things of nature and human society which have non-uniform distribution to some extent, to that extent we can do spatial analysis. Is okay? So geography is all about the spatial analysis of those things of nature and human society which have a non-uniform distribution. If this is good, if you have understood this point, so if anyone wants me to, if anyone wants to prove me wrong in this statement, think of this now. If anyone wants to prove me wrong in this claim which I made, I say, give me one good example. It should be good. One good example of anything from nature or human society which is so uniform that you say, sir, this thing of nature or human society is so uniform that it doesn't need a spatial analysis, and therefore you cannot include this in your subject geography, and therefore you go wrong in this claim. So, have you understood my point? Tell me anything of nature or human society, but it should be a good example, which is so uniformly available on the earth surface that you say, sir, there is no scope of spatial analysis for this thing, and as a result you can't include this in your subject, and therefore your claim that you study almost everything of nature or human society is not acceptable. There is a student Tanvi writing air. There is one more NKS writing air. Just a few minutes back I have told you, this teacher will teach you atmosphere. Yes or no? So don't think by common sense point air is not the right answer. Is air uniform? If air was uniform, then why we were having cities being ranked on the basis of air quality index? You have come to my city, Delhi. You will be only asked to pay for your residence, your tuition fee, etc. We Delhiites will give you free of cost all pollution, all pollutants will be given free. These are attached benefits of being in Delhi. No? So have you heard of air quality index? What it doesn't tell us that pollution is not uniform. So don't you think as a geographer has a reason to study air? Now tell me, are the temperature conditions same? We started our class with one particular set of conditions of the air outside. After the class, conditions would be different. In the evening, further different. If temperatures are different, can I say pressure conditions are different? And if pressure conditions are different, air will start moving. No. Have you seen air keeps always moving? So it means there's a lot to means my whole bread and butter depends on air. And this Tanvi Singh is trying to kill my survival. So it's a very wrong answer. Any other answer? Where you can prove me wrong that it's so uniform that you cannot study it in geography. Silence goes in my favor. It means you are accepting this point. 2 minutes more. Any good example, but it should be good, of anything of nature or human society, which is so uniform. Now there is a student writing Shubhragar, oceans. Are oceans uniform? The temperature conditions, the salinity of the ocean, density of the ocean water, so much there to study that the mankind still knows very less about oceans. There's so much of marine life, ecology has to, like we have different zones. Anjali writes sky. Is sky uniform? In a city like Delhi, you will hardly see a blue sky because of so much of pollution. And don't you think sky sometimes has clouds, sometimes doesn't? So we can classify sky on the basis of number of things. How much cloud cover is there. There's a student Muskan writing gravity. Now see, I knew someone would try to prove me wrong by giving gravity. But a good student of physics knows even gravity is not uniform at the poles and equator. But this is not my only answer. Means if I only give this answer to counter gravity, then I'm not a good geography teacher. I would say, have you heard of tides? The periodic rise and fall of seawater in the coastal areas. And tides are so complex that Newton, who gave the first theory on tides, could not succeed. And after Newton, we have large number of theories on tides. Still there is no theory on tide which explains all the complex variations. Why tides are so complex that no scholar is able to sum up all the details in one theory? Because tides are the result of gravitational interaction of the three bodies, Earth, Moon and Sun. And they vary so much, their interactions vary so much on the Earth's surface that tides are very, very complex. And there is another student now, Muskan Gulati. The student is understood. And the point being, Ashutosh also writes the same. Nothing is uniform. So it means some students have understood that now teacher is wasting time. Better we accept his idea because he's not going to leave it as it is. Yes, he says, yes? Very good. He says laws of nature. You just wait. I'm well prepared. The very fact that he says laws, it means he's not asking my answer, a question. I said, give me an example of a thing of nature or human society. Law is not a thing. Don't give me Newton's law of gravitation. Okay? Law means a generalization. So it means you don't understand the term law. It is different from element. Now there is a student writing erosion. Erosion, you understand? That weathering. How erosion would be uniform? Don't you think some areas erosion would be more? Because of the exogenous agents are strong. Or slope is steeper. Erosion would be faster. There is a student Ashutosh writing time. Means some are ready after me to prove wrong. Now this some student is writing time. After 2 classes, I'll be spending 2 lectures on time only. Let us see. Glow. Very good. After 1 or 2 classes, I'll teach time. I'll say, Earth rotates west to east. Those places which are on the east would have the sunrise earlier. So New Zealanders, Australians, Japanese would be ahead of we Indians because they have sunrise earlier. We are behind them. And Americans are on the west of we Indians. They are behind. Means at least in one field we are confident. Americans are behind. And that is the concept of time, local time. So time will not be same. Right? I'll teach you local time, standard time, time zones of the world, international date line. Have you heard of all these things? So see, there is so much to study about time. There is another student, Dikshant, writing nothing's uniform. Me, some students are saying, sir, now come to the point. We have understood. Yes, is the class agreeing? Fine, good. So it means you understand that yes, things of nature and human society are non-uniform to some or the other extent, no? And you didn't notice, I was so smart that I wrote almost here. Means even if you would have given me an example, still my statement was good because I said, this is 32 years experience. Because I know with my class background, like previous years batches, because in some classes you have not such good students. Your batch is good. That you are not so after me to, that teacher should be proved wrong. In some classes they say, sir, God is uniform. Now, even to those students, I say, even if God is omnipresent, do you think the faith about that God, the acceptance may not be same? Do you think different religions have different ways to reach to that God? Everyone in the class may not have the same kind of faith for the acceptance. So we can study religious faiths, even if you say God is omnipresent. Someone would say, sir, love is uniform. Someone will come to such a low level, sir, atoms are uniform. Don't think atoms will make things and things will be non-uniform. So for these kind of poor answers, I don't want to waste my time of the class. So how would I get rid of these students? I'll say almost. Okay. So, but your batch is good, and this batch will become the finalist next year. All other batches of India, all other batches of India are going to go waste this year. Okay. This is the final list, I tell you, including online students also. Okay, I have proved my point that we geographers study almost everything. So content is not limiting my subject. Fine. Let me now show you some examples to convince you further that how you are going to use my subject for almost every other subject answer. So it means class is with me that we geographers have, now mind this carefully, we geographers have been having geography of fold mountains of the world. Means what did we do in school? Geography of fold mountains. We did geography of oil. We did geography of climates, soils. We have done all these geographies, right? But if you have understood my theme today, can I say we also do at higher level geography of poverty in India? Yes, please. Poverty is also not uniform. Can I say we have all the reasons to have a field of knowledge called geography of development. We have geography of epidemics in India. Yes, please. So we have geography of infrastructure. Think of planning. Don't think, if you look at the planning by planning commission, what we have done so far, is there geography in that or not? Has it been uniform? Don't think one important weaknesses of India's planning, right from the beginning till this date, has been that more and more planning in this country has increased regional disparities. At least in 1950s, there was one good thing, we were all poor. Yes or no? At least there was unity. But what has happened with more and more of the kind of policies the Planning Commission has gone for? It has created regional disparities, personal disparities. Green revolution in certain areas of the world, of the country worked, whereas other areas are still having very poor agriculture. You travel from the core of the city like Delhi, I repeat, and think of any other city, you come from different towns and cities of India. I might not, I do travel a lot, but I have not seen many of the towns so far, means I have not seen entire India. But you are here as an India, and I make a claim, and you will all agree with me. From the core of your city or town, imagine you travel readily outward for just 25 kilometers. Tell me, does the life change drastically or not? It happens in Delhi. What to talk about any other city? Don't think it's a shame for we Indians that just within 20-25 kilometers from the core, from the national capital, we have life changing drastically. It means we'll see that the big cities have acted as a suction pumps. They have swallowed the growth potentials of the hinterland, and the hinterland has been stagnating in poverty. So this regional disparities which is there. Don't think today big cities are developed in India, but their hinterlands are still. Don't think India would have been much better if Delhi would have been used as a growth pole for developing its hinterland. Mumbai would have been done the same way. Calcutta would have done the same job for its own hinterland, and southern cities would have done the same. Don't think India would have been more uniformly developed? That this city can be used as a growth center for developing a larger area. But we have not done that. We have connected big cities of the country better. We have not connected our city with the hinterland. If someone asked me today for a lecture at 150 kilometers distance from Delhi, tomorrow, I may not go for that. But if someone asks me to deliver a lecture in Mumbai tomorrow, I'll go for it. Because it's easy to travel Delhi, Mumbai as compared to a distance of 150 kilometers or so. Because connections are poor. So it means everywhere you will find geography around you. Think of a term called geopolitics. Please write this on the margin. What is geopolitics? You will be studying this with other teachers in different subjects. Today I'll say geopolitics simply means geographical causation. Geopolitics means geographical causation of international politics. Do you agree with me that when you read your newspaper, when you go to international page of your newspaper, can I say either implicitly or explicitly in every news you will have some role of politics? Think of it. On the international page, take any news item, I say either implicitly or explicitly you have the role of politics, and that role is called geopolitics. Now, let me take you to history. Napoleon used to say, geography rules the politics of the nations. Write this also on the margin, may be useful for essay writing. Napoleon on the margin. Geography rules, he said, geography rules the politics of the nations. Geography rules the politics of the nations. Now see, though I am here to emphasize, since it's my first lecture, I have to convince you to the best of my abilities about the importance of geography. But being a fair student, I would also say, though Napoleon said geography rules the politics of the nations, but since the times of Napoleon to the present time, the importance of geography has declined also. Means if Napoleon was here today, he would not make this statement. Because today geography is one important determinant of international politics, but it doesn't rule the politics. Because some new things have happened since the time of Napoleon. Can I say military technology has changed? Today Americans sitting in America can fire a missile to a particular location of Afghanistan, yes or no? So it means geography of Afghanistan, which was a problem for them, is no more a problem. Similarly, information technology, has it brought the world together in many ways? Then we have created certain regional and the world organization. Think of United Nations. Don't think a poor country, poor in the sense a vulnerable country, a small country with a strong neighbor nearby, is confident that if there is a problem from this big neighbor, there is a platform available, United Nations, where I can seek help from other countries. So in this sense, geography's importance has declined. And much more important, can I say, globalization is also killing the subject of geography. What is globalization in the true sense? That world is my market and world is my workshop. That as a manufacturer, I want to manufacture my product at the place where the cost is minimum, and I want to sell it at a place where the price is maximum. So all these developments have reduced the importance of geography. But even today, geography remains one of the determinants of international politics. So it means without geography, you will not have any international news. To some or the other extent, you will have the importance of geography. Now let me surprise you with something else. So now I've told you there's a geography of epidemics, geography of medical technology, geography of everything, what you have, poverty, development, and all that. Now see what I do. And you'll be surprised that even this is done in geography. I say, today we also study geography of terrorism. And be honest and tell me, did you expect that in the first lecture of geography, the teacher will use the word terrorism? You never expected that in the first lecture of geography, teacher will use the word terrorism. Because you thought I'm worth about soil, vegetation, rivers, etc., earthquakes. But see, we geographers do studies on terrorism. And anyone who says, why do you study terrorism? Can I say, if this board is my world map, in the present times, can I identify certain locations of this world map from where the chance of origin of a terrorist activity is much more than the rest of the world map? So it means there's a clear reason for me to do a spatial analysis of origin of terrorism. And at the same time, there are certain other locations of this world map where the chance of the impact of a terrorist activity going is much more than the rest of the world map. It means there are some soft targets for international terrorism. So tell me, can I do a spatial analysis in terms of origin as well as the effect or impact of terrorism? It means we have all the reasons to study what is called geography of terrorism. Means no study on international terrorism is complete with the help of a geographical analysis. Means we geographers have a role to play in those teams which suggest the government what kind of policies you should have for international terrorism. So don't think you have to deal with these kind of things in essay writing and answer in general. So it means what is the understanding being given? So my advice to you today is that after this lecture at 10 a.m., you must become a part geographer. It means right today, from today onward, whatever you write on, speak on, do relate that phenomenon to the map of India or map of the world. And see on that map, that phenomenon you are writing about or speaking about, is it uniformly available or not? And you will find it is not. And then to the extent it is non-uniform, do a spatial analysis of it. It means you will get your answer getting richer by 2 or 3 more points. It means earlier you were suggested, write some economic aspect, write some social, write some political. Now I am saying, be a geographer, also write 1 or 2 elements on spatial aspect. So enrich your every answer in the main examination, in the interview, with spatial approach in life. Don't leave any answer without relating it to the map of India or map of the world or map of the district or whatever area which is under focus. How can you think of eradicating epidemics from your state if you first do not have on the map of your state that which are the pockets which are having this problem year after year? Then once areas are identified, only then you can think of what have been the reasons for these areas to have this endemic problem. So, even terrorism is studied in geography today. I hope you are getting that almost everything is important here. Don't think during the COVID issues, the problem, don't think we have geography of vaccination also. That could we vaccinate the entire population? No. Rich countries were having all the doses. Africa was not being vaccinated. So it means the studies were done at that time by WHO that what is the geography of vaccination and how can it impact our desired goals as such. Now, if this is all good, with the suggestion that you must become a part geographer after this class, means start looking everything around you in a spatial way also. Not only in social, economic or political way, you have to see the things in a spatial frame. And then only you will understand that in this small area where you have come to, you have more bookshops. You have more shops giving you food. Yes or no? Don't think this is all because of you being here. It means in every area, we have some forces which give us a spatial design. And the moment you understand here, now after the class is over, sit in your room and take a aerial view of your hometown or home city. You will find even in your city, there is a spatial distribution of services. There is one area of your city which is more good for administrative function. There is another for wholesale market. There is some area we have more of medical amenities. There is some area known for good schools as such. Now tell me, this whole organization of services, has it evolved on one particular day? Has it been planted by the government of the country, state by one particular step? No, it has evolved with time. Lots of forces have gone into it over a period of time. This is spatial geography. This is what you have to, means this is what you have to have a watch, and you write better answers in the mains examination and you will speak better in the interview also. Now, I believe that class maturity is more now. So now I'll bring a philosophical discussion. And what I teach you in the next 5 minutes, I know first many of you will not understand, but those who will be with me, I'll make you understand. Now, I leave geography and I talk about science in general. Means I talk about all sciences, social as well as physical sciences. And I write one point here on the board. Many of you will not understand because these kind of things we have not done in school or college unless until you have been a student of that topic. See here, I write and you please write later. Just see, I say every science attempts discovering an order in the apparent chaos of nature or human society. Now you may not be able to understand this statement because you might not have done these kind of things, or you may not know the word order, etc. But let me go for 5 minutes of discussion and I'll make you understand and relate it to all subjects you have studied in school and college. See, when I write the word order, by this I mean something what I call as pattern, means simple words, design, or what you have been doing in school and college as theory, generalization. Okay? So by order you understand what you understand by the term design in life, pattern in life, or what you have studied in school and college as theory or generalization. Now you will say, sir, what does it mean chaos of nature or human society? Now to make you understand this, I take 2 examples. And through those 2 examples, I'll justify this statement and you'll have learning in general for every subject you have studied. Let me take the example from geography of other teacher. Let us think of earthquakes. When you will study about Earth's interior and its processes, and when you will focus on things like earthquakes, on one hand you will understand that no place of this earth is immune from a quake. It means the knowledge will be that Earth interior is such that an earthquake can happen at any time, anywhere. So much so that there is a possibility that we may not be able to complete this lecture today. Means before 10, who knows? A quake may happen in this area. And now you will be really cursing me that we have just paid a huge amount of fee and we are just trying to settle in this city for our examination, and this teacher is so negative that he says that we may not survive this very second class of ours. But no, you just wait for a few minutes, you will find I am very positive in my approach. Means I will change the things with the help of science. But see, if you are told that one fact of Mother Nature is that a quake can happen anytime, anywhere, can I say when you get to know this, it gives you a feel of chaos about nature? Don't think it gives you a feel of helplessness, that as a human being I can't do anything? It all depends on nature, that you may have a quake anytime, anywhere, and story gets over. So this fact gives you, this fact which I have just mentioned, gives you what? A chaos. Chaos of nature, because I am talking about earthquake. But what science has done, like geology, like geography, and other related science, science has given us a theory called plate tectonics. And your other teacher will teach you that this theory of plate tectonics does agree with this point. But it goes for giving us an order, a design, a pattern. And it says that in the present earth, when we are on this earth, there are 3 seismic belts, means areas which are prone to earthquakes, which alone register 98 or 99% of the world's earthquakes or quakes. You have heard of number 1, circum-Pacific belt. Have you heard of it? That all areas of the continents which are touching Pacific Ocean, like west side of North America, west side of South America, and then the areas like Japan, Indonesia, etc. And scientists will tell you that this circum-Pacific belt is so active today in terms of plates interaction that 80% of the earthquakes of the world today are registered here only. I don't think the moment I give you 80% earthquakes in circum-Pacific belt, we get a relief. That will not complete today's lecture, will complete almost the whole syllabus. Because 80% quakes happen too far from the location we are in. Then the same theory will tell you the second seismic belt, which is called Trans-European or Trans-Eurasian belt. Means from Europe to Asia, the mountains are there. They are also prone to earthquakes. So from Europe to Himalayas, this Trans-Eurasian belt registers about 15% of the world's quakes today. So how much total? 95%. I will not only complete this session, with the God's grace, I will complete many more sessions. Yes, sir, because 95% are so away. Then the third belt will include the oceans of the world. That you have something called as mid-oceanic ridges. In the middle of the oceans, we have some huge mountain systems. They are prone to earthquakes. Have you heard of mid-Atlantic ridge? So these things we learn in the other teachers' classes. And in the third belt, we also take some portion of Eastern Africa. Some of you might have seen already, or some you will see after the class today. When you go to the physical map of Africa, you will find on the eastern side, Africa is breaking up. And very soon, within a few million years, eastern part of Africa will get separated from rest of Africa. So from Red Sea down till Mozambique, there will be a new sea being formed. When the continent pieces will drift away, there will be a new sea being formed. And that area where the Africa is breaking up, it is prone to earthquakes. So that area would be named as East African Rift Valley System. And this third belt may experience About 3 to 4% of the earthquakes. How much total covered? So be happy. We are safe here. So, there was a chaos, but what science has done? So now read this sentence. Every science is doing what? A great favor to us by identifying order in the apparent chaos of nature or society. This is how lives become easier for mankind. Now, I'll give one more example, but from a different subject. And the next example is so good that I'll not have to speak even this much. Let's see how many of you understand without any detail. Now I say second example. Think of chemistry without periodic table. Don't you think chemistry without periodic table would have been a chaos of elements? See, there are so many elements in nature. If there was no periodic table, what these scientists had to do or what we had to do, we had to study every element separately. Every element had so many compounds, so many properties. Don't think chemistry would have been hell of a subject. Or today, every part of our human life is full of chemistry. Means, can you think of any moment of your life without the use of plastic or things we do in chemistry? No. So, how many of you understand elements of nature represent a chaos? But what periodic table has done? It has found order in that chaos, and that is why you don't need to study every element separately. You have bundles of elements, that these are all halogens in one group. Yes, understood or not? So this is what every science means. Every science. Now look at any subject you have done, you'll understand that every science is making our lives easier by identifying order. Otherwise things would have been chaos and you had to study everything in separate pieces. But now we are able to study nature and society in bundles. Psychologists are trying to understand the order in psychological behavior, social behavior and all that. Sociologists are focused on social interactions. Okay. Now, let us bring geography and this discussion together. So can I say geography is a spatial science? It means, what is geography trying to do? Geography is trying to identify a spatial order, means order in relation to space, like spatial order for oil, spatial order of fold mountains, volcanoes and all that. So please write. There is a student asking, is plate tectonics a uniform process? How can plate tectonics be uniform? Some areas are having more active interactions and some are passive. On the west side of Atlantic Ocean, means think of when you will do this topic, on the west side of South America, you have so much of earthquake volcanism, but on the eastern side you don't have. Means one is an active belt, the other is a passive belt. But then the science will tell us that the belts which are active today, they were passive some millions of years back. And the ones which are passive will become active tomorrow after some time. So please write. Every science attempts discovering an order in the apparent chaos of nature. An order in the apparent chaos of nature / human society, depending on whether you're doing physical science or social science. The right next point, geography being a spatial science, attempts discovering the spatial order, in whatever it studies. Now there is a student Ruchika asking, what does apparent chaos mean? Apparent chaos means this. For example, that a quake can happen anytime, anywhere. This is what? It appears as if there is a chaos in nature. But scientists find no. Behind this apparent chaos there is a design of Mother Nature. And the design is given by plate tectonics. Seismic belts, there are 3 areas which are active today. What is chaos? Every element appears to be different. But scientists who studied these elements over a period of time kept on classifying them. And finally, with efforts of great scientists of the past, we got a table called periodic table, which happens to give you bundles of elements that you can take them as whole. No need to waste your time on one element separately. Hundreds of their compounds and hundreds of their properties. So they have made our life easier. It means if science was not there, you have to handle everything separately. But with science, you are handling things in bundles. That sociologists say these kind of people, those who go for this social system, they are different from the other social system. Okay. Now, let me just to relate to this only, I make a statement. There was a scientist by the name Bunge. First listen to this and then you can write this on the margin. This scientist once said, science is the deadly enemy of uniqueness. Write this sentence and tell me, is this understood from the context I have discussed? Please write Bunge. Science is the deadly enemy of uniqueness. Science is the deadly enemy of uniqueness. It means what he is saying is science kills uniqueness. So science killed the uniqueness of elements by putting them into a group called halogens. Okay? And that is how our life becomes easier. If sciences were not there, we had to think or we have to handle everything separately. Now there is a student asking that how geology means, I mentioned the word geology sometime in between. So he is asking, he or she, I don't know, NKS, that how geology is different from geography. See, we geographers focus on the earth surface, no? Geologists study the whole earth. So geology is the study of earth. And we human beings we geographers study the earth surface in particular. And in particular as the home of mankind. So man is also important in our studies. Whereas geologists focus more on the whole earth as a body. So it means what I said for endogenetic processes, we take most of that from geological studies. Geologists tell us about the interior of the earth and then we go for our usage on that earth surface. Now, so these are the two, it means what is the learning of the last 1 hour's time? That one, my suggestion to you is for better answer writing, you must become geographer to some extent. Okay? In your thought process. It means from today onward, think spatially. Relate everything to space. You'll get extra points for answer writing. And second, to write better answers, lift your analysis to order rather than things separately. Means the one who writes the conventional college or school way would write over pieces. But a mature student of my class would write about the elements. But having done that, in the final analysis, he will take an overview as an order. What combines this? What binds them together? So your quality of answer writing would be much better. Now, let's relate this discussion to our first part of the lecture. I said, keep reading syllabus and previous year's question papers. Did I say this or not? I said, don't waste time with the so-called seniors and others. See, enough time you are spending in the classes. Every teacher will have something to suggest, no? Means you have to bear me for my suggestion. Every teacher will show you that based on my experience, you do this. Means some teacher will say, don't read one newspaper, read two. So everyone has the suggestions based on the experience. But having got such a set of suggestions and all that from class itself, there's no need to waste time on the seniors and other people outside, except their mistakes you have to learn. So what I suggest is, now I make my whole suggestion scientific. My suggestion today was that read the question papers and your syllabus copy so well that you discover order in UPSC examination. For example, take essay papers. If you look at the essay paper of last 15 years, say, don't think every year they ask different essays? And don't think the things are different from school essay examination? Remember school and college, the teacher gave us, means the whole syllabus had 4 to 6 essays. And the teacher could not do all. He could only do 4 discussions. And then he had most of the teachers in school and college had one last lecture where they told the students, do come. Means those teachers who never taught us well, they always had one good last lecture where they gave us a hint. Though I have done 4 with you, this one is useless. This one is also useless. So it means you got a clear hint that 2 essays will make him pass the exam. And we were further smart. We did 1 only. Because we knew choice will come. So this is how we have done essay and other things. But is that possible in UPSC? No. They change this essay paper, the topics, and they are such that you have to go there and write. Think and write. But before you go there, how can you prepare well when you know topic is going to change? So it means my suggestion is read the question papers of last 15 years essay papers so well that discover order, that what exactly are the topics asking every year. So you will find some order emerging, and once order is understood, don't think your preparation would need less time, it would be more structured. Even if you do not know the title, you know the content, what kind of content would be handy. So when you read when you read some news item, when you read article in the on the editorial page, you'll know this sentence, this theme might be useful for that category of essay paper. It means by identifying the order of essay paper, you can categorize the essays in 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 categories. And then when you read one article on the newspaper, you'll say this article is useful for this bundle. So you write that information in one file. Some other article in the newspaper is good for this category. And you keep collecting this information and let the topic be any on that particular day when you have the exam. So my suggestion now is that attempt discovering order in your UPSC examination. Things would become easier. Be a science student. Now, though the time is over, but I love to teach you for 15 minutes more. Is that okay? So now you write, okay, let me create the topic. So what is the learning of today's lecture? That geography is a spatial science. It means we cannot move any further in this subject without having a system to locate places on the earth. Means how can I relate some study with the space if I do not know how to locate a place on the earth's surface? And if you remember in school, you know, you have done something called latitude, longitude. You have seen some lines on the globe, the lines which are having a network called grid system. So before we can start the subject of geography, we need to know the shape of the earth. We need to develop a system to have an address of a place on the earth's surface and the related things. And then move on to things like time, concept and all that. Okay. Then we'll start with physical geography after that. So to make a beginning in the subject of geography, which is a spatial science, in today's lecture, in the next 10 minutes or so, I teach you about the shape of the earth. So that on that shape we'll work in the next lecture to develop the system to locate places, what we have done in the class, in the school classes. So I bring a subject called geodesy. Please write this title. Now see here, before you write, what is geodesy? It is the science which talks about the shape and the size of the earth. Okay? So please write a sentence. Geodesy is the science that attempts to determine Earth's shape and size, by surveys. Surveys means by looking around, by surveys and mathematical calculations. By surveys and mathematical calculations. Okay. Now it talks about both size as well as shape, but we'll focus on shape because that's what we need for our next lecture. So please write the title, Earth's Shape. And now give me 5 minutes on the board. We'll write the notes later, right? First listen to me. There's a student who wants me to repeat. I said by surveys and mathematical calculations. Now be on the board and don't write anything. See here, we were told today that Greeks were the first geographers. These Greeks who lived centuries back, they, through their observations of nature, made a concept in mind that our earth is a perfect sphere. So the observations made by Greek scholars took them to this decision or the model or the assumption that our earth is a perfect spherical body. And this notion that earth is a perfect spherical body remained unchallenged for a very long time. Means humanity accepted this idea that earth is a perfect sphere. It was given by the first geographers of the world. But in 1687, late 17th century, there came our famous scientist Isaac Newton. And he made a correction. He made a very right correction. He said, Earth, like any other planet, which is spinning on its axis, cannot be a perfect sphere. Because you have done in school physics, when a body spins, there is a force called centrifugal force, the force acting towards periphery. So Newton very rightly said in late 17th century that since Earth is spinning on its axis, so it is bulging out in the middle portion. And it is flattened at the top and bottom. Means he said Earth is not a perfect sphere, Earth is a flattened sphere. So I repeat, because of the spin, he said Earth is bulging out the middle portion. See, little bulge here. This is without spin. Now see, you understand, on others' cost you understand better. Anyway. So Earth is bulging out the middle portion. Now I am using the word middle, but in the next lecture it will become equator. That Earth is bulging through the equator. And it is flattened at the top and bottom. Means North Pole and South Pole. Okay. And this kind of Earth is flattened sphere. And from the times of Newton, this flattened sphere was called oblate spheroid. Means something what is flattened, right? So Newton gave us a change from the concept given by Greeks, which was held as it is for many centuries. But in the 20th century, there came one more change. In the 20th century, our Earth started taking its selfie. Before we started doing that, Earth had already done that. Means I'm talking about that time of 20th century when we started sending satellites up in space. So when the satellites took the images of the Earth from outside, and those images came to the ground stations, our scientists were surprised to see that Earth has a very complex configuration when seen from outside. Somewhere you have high mountains like Himalayas, somewhere you have deep valleys, somewhere you have big bodies of water called oceans. So scientists got a new idea when they looked at those images of the Earth from outside. They understood that our Earth has a very unique configuration, means shape. And they thought that our Earth is unique for the reason that it is the only non-living planet so far. And now they knew that our Earth also has a unique shape over it. So they thought, when Earth is so unique that it is the only non-living planet till this date, and it has a unique configuration, the shape of its own, then they thought, why are we saying our Earth is like a sphere? Why don't we give primacy to the uniqueness of this Earth and give this Earth shape a unique term? So from this time of 20th century, we started calling our Earth as a geoid. Geoid. Now someone will say, sir, what does it mean when you say Earth is a geoid? Then my notes will give an interesting answer. My notes will say, when I say Earth is a geoid, it simply means that the shape of the Earth is uniquely Earth-shaped. Think of this. You are asking me what is the shape of the Earth? I say, the shape the Earth has. Means whatever the shape is of the Earth, that shape is called geoid. It means this word will be used only for Earth, not for any other body. So it means we have three concepts. Greek's concept was Earth is a perfect sphere. Then came oblate spheroid, a flattened Earth, and now we say geoid. Okay. Now, let us write this much, but there is one more dimension left which I will cover at the end, and with that lecture will get over. First, write these observations with me. Please write first point. In 1687, Sir Isaac Newton postulated that the round earth along with other planets could not be perfectly spherical, Full stop. Right in the same next sentence. Until this time, the spherical perfection model, spherical, please write the way I am writing on the board, hyphen perfection, model means a simplification. Until this time, the spherical perfection model was a basic assumption of geodesy. Spherical perfection model was a basic assumption of geodesy. Next point. Newton reasoned that the shape of the earth, or write this way, Newton reasoned that earth is slightly misshapen, if we can use that word. Newton reasoned that the earth is slightly misshapen by its spinning. Earth is slightly misshapen by its spinning, put a comma, making it bulge through the equator, making it bulge through the equator. Now those who do not know what is equator, think of it as middle portion, okay? But since middle is not the right word, so since notes will go outside in the market, so I'll not make you write the wrong word. So, okay, so we write equator and it would be understood technically next time. So I repeat, bulge through the equator and flatten at the poles. And flatten at the poles. Now having written this, you can write within bracket, what is this shape called? Oblate spheroid. Is okay? Now write the next point. Today the earth is considered a geoid. Today the earth is considered a geoid. Full stop. Next sentence. The geoid means that the shape of the earth is uniquely earth shaped. The shape of the earth is uniquely earth shaped. Okay. Now let's add one more element in this discussion. 5 minutes more. Be on the board now. See, since we know our earth is flattened sphere, so it means earth is bulging out somewhere here and it is flattened at the top and bottom. So it means these two diameters are not same. So let us check out how much is the discrepancy of my earth from a perfect spherical shape. Means how much is the difference between the perfect sphere and our earth. So for that we need to know these dimensions. So please write this with me. Slightly flattened polar diameter is approximately equal to 12,714 kilometers, 12714 kilometers. Then write slightly, yes, what is the word I should use now? Bulging equatorial diameter is approximately equal to 12,756 kilometers, 12756 kilometers. Now see, if I have to calculate what is Earth's variation, means discrepancy from true spherical shape, I need to take the difference of these two diameters and see it as a part of any one of the two, the total. So see, what I do is 12756 minus 12714, this difference divided by what? I can take any of the two as base value. won't make a difference. You can take anyone and I can calculate percentage of it. Now please, one of you, or you calculate this in percentage. How much is the variation? Yes, online, offline students, please do it fast. What is the calculation value? Remember, you have to take CSET exam also, and CSET is qualifying. Yes, please, point. He says 0.32, very good. So it is about 0.32%, or simply I say 0.3%. And there are few online students also given the answer. So what is the learning of this calculation? Now mind this on the board, that our earth is not a perfect sphere. And how much is its variation from the true spherical shape? 0.3%. Please write this in a sentence. Please write. Earth's variation. Please write Earth's variation from true spherical shape. Earth's variation from true spherical shape is very minute, within bracket about, yes plus how much? About 0.3%. Now put a comma after this. Now we'll complete the sentence later, just be on the board. Let's say today in the evening you go to some sports goods shop in this Karol Bagh market and you purchase a basketball, or you purchase a football, or you purchase a tennis ball. Now before I go further, please tell me, one of these balls you purchase in the market today, or the earth, which one would be more spherical in shape? I repeat, listen to my point carefully. If you purchase one of these balls today from the market, my question is, one simple point is that in general, one of these balls or our earth, which one do you think is going to be in general more spherical? Balls. Very good. Don't you think if that was the answer, I had no reason to ask this question? Means we are already late, people might be waiting for the next class here. And if answer is this, then I'm wasting your time and my time also. Now, the point is, these basketballs, footballs, tennis ball, they were given to us since childhood as examples of spheres. But tell me honestly, did anyone of you measure the dimensions of any football to check whether it's a sphere or not? We never did that. We just took the given example, means we were told by the elders, we accepted it. But the point the point which I'm going to highlight is that because of manufacturing reasons, most of the footballs, basketballs and tennis balls, I'm not saying all, most of them have errors, and those errors are generally seen to be more than 0.3% errors. That we see, I'm not saying that we cannot manufacture a exactly spherical football or basketball. We can do that, but cost increases. So for commercial reasons, most of the balls which you get in the market, they have errors, and errors are generally more than 0.3%. So that's why I said, in general, which one is going to be more spherical? So it means you are being told, though my earth is not a perfect sphere, but it is still found to be better a sphere than the so-called spheres of life. Now you may say, sir, why are you telling us this? That why are you comparing your earth with the ball? The reason is, from next lecture onward, for most of the practical purposes of my subject, I will take earth to be spherical. And I am giving this comparison so that none of you has any reason to object to my assumption. Because if anyone is found arguing with me that, sir, why are you assuming earth as spherical when it is not so? I'll say, if you can assume the basketball and football as spherical, my earth is better a sphere than those spheres. So it means in any lecture till the completion of the course, if I say earth without any qualification, then earth is spherical. The day I wish to focus on the deviation of my earth from the spherical shape, then I'll mention it clearly. Otherwise, earth is practically, for all purposes we study geography, would be a spherical body. So complete that sentence. You wrote variation from the true spherical shape is very minute, 0.3%. Put a comma in it. Therefore, in most practical cases, put a comma again, we can treat earth. Now there is some phones ringing here. I tell the students I'll end my lecture as per my own requirements. By giving these calls, etc. No, keep your phones off. See, there are some students after 10 they will start indicating time is over. In one or the other way. But I tell you, the only privilege a teacher has is to close a lecture. Administration opens a lecture, teacher closes a lecture. And once I reach home, you know privileges lie somewhere else. So don't snatch the only privilege I have in life. I'll close the lecture. And if you disturb with this phone and other things, I'll extend the lecture further by 15 minutes. So please write, in most practical cases, put a comma, we can treat earth as if it were a perfect sphere. As if it were a perfect sphere. Okay. So with this, I stop here. I'll take leave from online students. And suggestion will be the process, and it's for offline students also. The process you have jumped into, start enjoying this process. And results should be great. Thank you.